watch JCS. I guess he's back now. Yeah, see, it's been like forever. Okay, so he's back. What does he have to say? 42 minutes. That's pretty short.
Alright. Did you say you did want water, didn't you?
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, grab me some water real quick. I need to get some stuff over here. That's my card. I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves, okay? And I am a detective here at the Charlottesville Police Department.
Charlottesville.
So before I want to
Carolina?
talk to you, I want to make sure you do understand your rights, okay? And that way I can explain to you what's going on and all that good stuff. You understand? You understand that? Okay. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, all right, your first name is George.
Yes.
George.
George? We're skipping a lot of shit. Okay. Tippy.
I didn't. There's no way I didn't do it. No way.
I mean, is he like getting off some drugs? Is that what I'm looking at?
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something.
Investigating this.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
It's an interesting concept to think of how you might respond to what would normally be an easy question, especially during a circumstance where it becomes a terrifying dilemma. We ask that you contemplate this question while you put yourself in George's position, but not before you grasp the context of what brought him to this moment. It begins with 22-year-old sports scholar Yeardley Love, a star lacrosse player at the University of Virginia. She is captured in this photograph playing in the second-to-last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized where it becomes a player at the University of Virginia. She is captured in this photograph playing in the second-to-last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized organization that would be founded in her memory. This would be the last photograph taken that day, capturing Yeardley's last embrace with her head coach Julie Myers. Both were unaware this exact moment would soon be on the national front pages. On May 3rd, 2010, at roughly 2:15 a.m., Yeardley's roommate returned from a night out to their off-campus apartment. Upon entering, she saw that Yeardley's bedroom had been broken into, at which point she rushed inside to find her unresponsive on the mattress. She had blood coming out of her nose and severe bruising across the right side of her face. But the most alarming thing was that she wasn't waking up. Her friend called 911, who instantly guided her through the steps of CPR, which was then taken over by paramedics who arrived on the scene 4 minutes later. But their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m. At 2:53 that same morning, criminal investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation, and by 3:50, confirmed that she had her first person of interest, which was 22-year-old George Yeardley V, Yeardley's ex-boyfriend, and the next several hours were spent gathering information before she knocked at his front door. She found out that George was a fifth-generation heir to a very wealthy American family, whose roots lay in lumber dating back to the 1900s. He was educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys private school in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000. George was the star player of the lacrosse team and became an All-American athlete. This led to a full scholarship at the University of Virginia, where he remained a key player in the starting lineup, and where he would also meet, then spark a romance with fellow lacrosse player Yeardley Love. They dated for almost 2 years.
Yeardley and Love's relationship was an on-again, off-again one, where they cheated on each other throughout, and that tempers flared both ways.
What was going on with these two young people? What may have led someone to do what happened? These are just a completely unbelievable set of facts.
Everybody watched the relationship. People were really troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation. 9 days later, she was found dead in her bedroom. And that same morning, George Yeardley would hear a knock at his front door. He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves,
The whole like the way like he speaks is crazy. Like this timeline he just gave is so smooth. Like when I tell stories, I don't know how to tell them. Like he was like throwing numbers out there, and you can make the timeline yourself, and it kind of just flowed.
Completely unbelievable set of facts.
Every
Days later, she was
This
into
time
the
on.
relationship and
troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation.
before.
9 days later, she was
9
found
days
dead in
later.
her bedroom. And that same morning, George Hughley
Same
would hear a knock at his front door.
14-9. You know what I'm saying?
He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves, who was dressed in civilian clothing. She introduced herself as a police officer, but mentioned nothing of the crime. She simply stated that she was conducting an investigation that could benefit from his presence at the sheriff's office. George's response was to lethargically put on his flip-flops, then walk over to the passenger side door of her unmarked police car and let himself in. Somewhat bewildered, Lisa got in and drove them to the police station a few minutes away without talking. It was around then when she noticed bruising on his knuckles and cuts on his forearm, at which point George was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect.
Okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense. And he's looking at his forearm now.
Alright.
He's gonna cover it up. Yeah.
Did you say you did want water, didn't you? I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, I can't tell on that one, 7:52.
I can't tell on your fucking watch? What?
What's that?
My drawings paper still right now.
Alright, your first name is George.
Yes.
Right away, you'll come to notice that George is oblivious to the gravity of his situation, and it would be very
Yeah, he's just
safe to
kinda
assume
chill.
that he at this moment is unaware that Yeardley has died. He seems to believe that he's in as much trouble as he would be sitting in a principal's office, perhaps for getting in a fight at class
that's a
or on the
weird
lacrosse
analogy.
field, and the sooner he provides a sanitized version of the truth, the sooner he'll get to go home. This, of course, ties in perfectly with the interrogator's opening strategy, which we've labeled warmth for the sake of this video. She will downplay the severity of
mean?
his situation to a considerable degree, while maintaining a friendly temperament with a sympathetic
So you're saying
undertone. She
warmth
needs
isn't
the
the right
suspect
word?
to feel safe and secure for the time being, as the less cautious he is, the more information he's likely to give away. Then as soon as he locks himself into one particular storyline, the pressure can commence, which often leads to a suspect being laden with panic and contradictions.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before questioning and have one present during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime.
George has two options here. Option 1 is to remain silent, then allow his father to get him the most expensive attorneys in the country. He would then have years to examine the evidence, evaluate the many options available, and then construct the most self-preserving storyline with world-renowned experts in criminal defense before they present it to a jury. Unfortunately for George, he takes option 2, but before he does...
Yeah, so like that's one thing I don't really understand. I mean, I guess... I mean, I don't know, like, if the police came right now and they were like, yo, we want to speak to you, I'd be like, can I get any lawyer? You know, if I don't have a lawyer, maybe I should, I don't know. I don't have a lawyer, I'd be like, yeah, I'll speak to you guys, but can I have a lawyer just because? Like, I don't think having a lawyer means that you're guilty or anything like that. To me, it would just mean that you're a cautious person and you don't want to say some dumb shit that, like, gets you in trouble if you didn't even do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I would want a lawyer, because obviously I don't do anything wrong. I don't think I've ever even stolen anything from a shop. I may call people stupid, but that's not illegal. I pay my bills. I do all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I gotta plug my phone in though. I saw the pop-up that said low power mode. But like, why not have a lawyer? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they just give you one, like, you don't have to be the greatest guy in the world. Just fucking have anybody sitting next to you. If you want to say like, oh yeah, my friend's my lawyer or whatever, just have somebody sitting in there to be like, yo, just chill for a sec. You're acting sus.
Rewatch the flawlessly reassuring manner in which he's given the final piece of the Miranda warning.
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime. Got it?
Yep.
Awesome. Just need your signature
What is he
there
gonna talk about
that you
the yup?
understand your rights. and are willing to talk to us. And the time now is...
See, I feel like almost everyone probably just doesn't like ask for a lawyer. But maybe they just should.
53.
That's my guess. Obviously, I don't know what actually happens. But I'm guessing most people
All
don't
right.
ask for a lawyer.
Let's kind of start. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions, and like I said, we'll explain things.
By the way, if anybody's here, can I get an
tell
emote
me
in the
about your
chat
day
room?
yesterday.
Played golf with our parents. It was a father-son. Good event. I went to dinner with my dad and my two buddies, and then went home, went to the bar for like a little while. Then I went over to talk to
Wait, why did they go to the bar?
And
Who's Yeardley?
Yeardley is my former girlfriend,
Okay.
which this whole thing's about, which I understand, but
George has
How
now
does he know?
initiated the investigative subject matter himself. It's
He doesn't. I mean, maybe he knows she's dead. Does he? Would he know that? Would he know that already?
the perfect opening scenario for the interrogator because she's given nothing away, making it more likely for him to reveal details that will contradict the evidence.
When I went over to
Maybe he knows.
talk to Yeardley, I like was like Yeardley, and she was like already like totally freaked out because of what she did this past like a few days ago, and we haven't talked since. And I was just gonna go talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yardley slept with another lacrosse player
That's
from
what I
North
figured.
Carolina the week before, which is what he just referred to.
And she was already like, oh, like freaking out. Like, you know, you can't come in, you can't come in. And I was like, I'm like just trying to talk to you.
The investigation team obviously had no way of knowing this, and George has now confessed to the crime of second-degree trespass. More importantly, however, he's just confessed to initiating the supposed confrontation. He now can't say that he was somehow tricked or misled into that situation. He knowingly stepped into it, and the critical fact he can actually recognize and remember this will be used against him repeatedly in the future.
And like, she like started being like getting like all like, you know, like really like defensive. She was already like on the defensive edge, and like I was like, listen, I'm not here to like, I'm just here to talk to you. And she like got all like sat up, like her bed's against the wall, like if it was in this corner, she was like up against the wall, and I was like we were sitting there talking, and like she started being like you know, like getting like all like aggressive after this. And so I was like, all right, like chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
So just to recount what George said over the last 47 seconds, Yardley was defensive. While being in a defensive state, she backed up against the wall. She then became aggressive. George's response to this supposed aggression was to initiate physical contact.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything, I'm here to talk to you about everything that's ensued in the past week. And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like stop, like she was in the corner, I was sitting on the bed, I was like, stop, like, I was like, we were like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk.
So let's go back half a minute and dissect what actually just happened there.
And so I was like, all right, like,
What?
chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
I mean, it sounds like she's just like going crazy. And he's like, yo, can we just talk? And she's fucking being batshit crazy.
He will now say the words, and she started being like, then simultaneously mimic a body colliding with the wall. He will then stop himself mid-thought and subtly modify the detail.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen. And she started being like freaking out.
He goes
I
from
don't get it.
illustrating
I feel
Yardley
like I'm
hitting the
missing it.
wall to, as he states, freaking out.
And
He seems to realize mid-sentence this isn't the best way to explain her injuries, so he changes the detail to buy himself time.
and she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything, I'm here to talk to you.
He carefully shifts the topic from Yardley to himself, and keeps it there for 8 seconds before attempting to re-explain what occurred in a more self-preserving manner.
And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like.
No.
See, what I got from that is she was hitting the wall. She was like freaking out like this against the wall. She's like, or something, and then she started hitting the head. This timeline makes sense. This whole like thing with the arrows, where it's like this, and then she's got a defensive, and then she gets aggressive, and then I mean, like from his point of view, the story is just like she's going crazy. So like her being up against the wall, being like, "Meh," and then like, cause he held her against the wall basically, cause she's against the wall, and then he grabs her, so she's just like squirming, and then she starts hitting her head against the wall. I feel like the story that the guy's making is just that like squirmy, and then head hit wall after, not that he changed the story. But maybe I'm just wrong here.
Jury on the planet will believe that Yeardley was voluntarily slamming her head against the wall with enough force to cause fatal brain damage. All George has done here is give away the fact that he knows Yeardley has sustained some type of head injury, and now lied on record about how it was inflicted.
I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell? Like, we were just gonna talk, and like, it was not at all like a good conversation, because that's like, she was already like freaking out with just even seeing me there.
Okay. What happened next?
What happened next, and she just kept hitting her head against the wall while she was sitting on the bed, and I was like, and I grabbed her and I like shook her. I was like, stop, like we need to like, and looked at her. I was like, we need to like talk about this. And like, I mean, I was on holding her arms and stuff, but like I never struck her. I never like hit her like in the face or anything. I was just like, we need to talk.
Is there gonna be like a face comment that like he hit her in the face?
So like. Oh, I
don't remember what the stuff was in the beginning, but
like,
is there like a hit on her face?
Flopping a fish out of the water, like so, like all this, and
I don't know, like why doesn't he just say it seemed like she was on drugs? Like why doesn't he say this? He's saying that she's freaking out, but why doesn't he like make it seem more extreme that like he's never seen this from her before? And I get that like obviously like he did it, so like that's why. But if you're trying to lie, why don't you just be like, girl was tripping, maybe she was on acid, coke, the methamphetamines. Like, why doesn't he, like, make up a better lie?
I was like, listen, like, I'm not here to, like, fight with you or, like, do anything. Like, here to talk to you. And, like, and she's like, no.
The man just wants to talk to me.
You have to leave, 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 like, all this
Yeah,
stuff.
see, like,
all right, like
him saying that, I get, like, that is such an easy slip up. Like, I could, if I did something like this, I could see myself accidentally saying I'm doing, like, other illegal shit. Like, you're supposed to leave when somebody asks you to leave, technically, I think, you know? Like, because that is trespassing. I can see myself saying something like this, so, like, that's, you know, like, whatever. But why doesn't he just be like, yo, why does she keep saying that? Like, why, what's going on?
You have to leave, you have to leave, you have to leave, like, all this stuff. I was like, all right, like, fine, like, but, like, I want to talk to you after all this. And like, I was, like, a little bit persistent because of the situation. You know, my former girlfriend who, something happened last week, you know, and I was like, all right, like, well, so we were, like, talking over there, and, I mean, somehow we ended up, somehow I was resting her on the floor, and I was just like, stop.
Why does he say that? Why doesn't he just say, that shit happened and then I left? She said I couldn't be there, so I just left. Why you gotta, like, why you gotta say it? Why are you just saying all this shit? I was wrestling her on the floor. But just that's not part of the story. Just say, I fucking left. That was it. And then I went on with my day.
I just, like, and I was holding her.
I was holding her. I was a little bit persistent. I was wrestling her on the floor. All further evidence that designates George as the aggressor. He's completely shut down his ability to argue any sort of self-defense claim.
And then the conversation, I could tell, was just like, it was not going anywhere and nothing was happening. And she like went back to bed, and I left. And I went back home.
He's even shaking his head here. If you see this.
She like went back to bed, and I left.
Alright, so maybe he's just doing like normal. It's like right there, that thing.
And I left. And I went back home.
He's like, and I went back. It's like, and I went back home. and I went back home. Like the eyebrow up and like the shaking the head, it's like that's that's lie form.
Phase 1 is now complete. The suspect has unknowingly locked himself into a storyline that will put him away for a very long time. The risk of him shutting down or requesting a lawyer is no longer a primary concern. So the interrogator will now increase the pressure. She will confront him on certain elements that she pretended to overlook
So we're zooming
before.
in?
And the ideal scenario is to cause just enough panic so that he backpedals on previous statements and contradicts himself.
All right, so you go over there, knock on the door.
Her front door was open. Her room door was closed. I knocked like a yard. She heard me open the door and went in.
All right, went in where?
To her room.
All right, straight to her bedroom.
Straight to her bedroom. Yeah, I mean.
How'd you get through the door?
Her door or the front door?
Her door.
Actually, it might have been locked.
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Just be honest with me.
Yeah,
How'd you
no,
get in
yeah,
the
it
door?
was actually locked. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I put a hole.
Yeah. You punched a hole through the door.
Pretty sure actually now. Yeah, that I used to.
Why say that? This is like I want to say like this is like the worst video he's done because like the guy just says he's doing it all. Like in the other videos, like the people lie and then they get caught on their lies. But this dude just says like, yeah, I just punched a hole in her door. You know, no fucking big deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty sure.
Why'd you do that?
Well,
What
I
you do?
guess
What you doing?
yeah. Once I was in her room, she was like very like or like I'm not like I don't want to talk to you like all this stuff, and she was very like very on edge like.
Well, yeah, you just punched like a hole
I
through her
don't
door or
wanna
some
talk,
shit.
I don't want to talk like
Or you broke the lock. I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, listen, like what you pulled last week was outrageous. Like I just want to talk to you.
Why'd you punch the door then?
A very unusual time to interrupt a suspect in such a contentious manner. He was giving away self-incriminating information that could be used to establish a motive. He was doing exactly what the lead investigator wanted. But Detective Ed has now stopped him in his tracks. It's a reckless maneuver at this point in the interrogation, which Detective
Yeah, like,
Reeves
why
is
did she
no
stop
doubt
him?
conveying at this moment through nonverbal communication.
Yeah, she's like,
she
"Shut the
now has
fuck
to
up."
let the suspect respond as to not undermine their position.
Because I want to talk to her.
Detective Reeves will now bring his guard back down through a reassuring tone and gently guide his train of thought back to his grievances with the victim. She pulls this off in 3 questions.
All right, well, continue on. That's fine. Continue on. So you're talking to her and she doesn't want to talk to you?
Not really. I mean, we talked though. Like there was parts where we were talking, and then like.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I mean, about so many different things.
Okay. Like what?
Like,
Why would you say so many different things,
what
dog?
she did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like went to like Carolina. She went to Carolina and hooked up with someone Sunday when we were still trying to figure out things. And I was over there like to talk. Like I was like, this is outrageous because I was trying to make everything better, and then like, she was very defensive because she knew like how upset I was because I've told her like through emails like how upset I was like about what she did, and so I was like, and I sat on the edge of it. I was like, listen, like I want to talk to you, like what you did was bullshit. Like that's not like okay. And I was just like, and she's like, not like she's like sort of pushing everything that she did to the back burner and like talking about like trying to like put everything that she did like wasn't important. It kept going to the point where she like I was like, listen, like you're like we have to figure like out what's going on. And she was like, I'm not talking to you. And then she like pushed me, like get out of here, like go. And I was like no, and like I was like be like we have to talk, like get like
when you're doing that, what are you holding on her?
on her arms.
On her arms, like maybe up here?
Like shoulders, yeah.
Shoulders.
Like like, come on, like, you know, and that's when she would, like, wiggle and, like, get away and, like, you know, like, get in the corner, like, really, like, aggressive, like, defensively almost. And then I think she was back in bed, and I left. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
How'd she get back in bed?
We were, like, wrestling, and we stood up, and I tossed her, I pushed her onto the bed. I was like, go to bed, like, I was talking to you.
What do you mean? I was like, go to
Did you touch
bed?
her neck area
What
at
the
all?
fuck?
Did you choke her at one point?
I may have grabbed her a little bit by the neck when we were, like, but I never, like,
Just why is he
her.
why is he saying this?
But
Just say no.
Yeah, I mean, during the whole, like, commotion, you know, like, I might have grabbed her neck, but I never was like strangling her.
Okay.
More detail that was unknown to the investigation. The fact that he grabbed her neck can now be used as evidence. It paints a more frightening picture of the incident with relation to the suspect's aggression toward the victim. This was an extremely damaging revelation for George's defense. The discussion moves to the moment he left, and George admits that he took Yeardley's laptop.
Why'd you grab her laptop?
What?
Because I was so pissed that she wouldn't talk to me. I was like, I don't know. I, like, took it almost as, like, collateral, I guess. I don't know. It's not reasonable logic, but
Right.
I don't know.
Did you take anything else besides the
No,
laptop? Nothing.
no.
What, you like a kid? You just fucking took the tech away?
So when you left out of there, I mean, you saw that she was bleeding on her nose.
She's now about to ask a question with the same implication for a second time. Notice what occurred the first time.
Did you go back and check on her at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you try to
Wait, I
call
don't remember
rescue
that.
or anything
What?
to make sure she was all right?
No, I did not.
No. Why?
The face of bewilderment, if there ever was one. It's very strange that he's so taken aback by such a question, especially when you take into account the possible outcome if he had actually called for help.
One medical expert revealed in the courtroom for the very first time that following Yeardley Love's brutal beating, had George Hughley or anyone else called for help, she might have survived.
I didn't think it was like, I didn't think that she was like in need of like going to the emergency room. She just got, I mean,
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Didn't you say when you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were shaking her, her head was hitting the wall?
Well, that was in the beginning. That was initially when I walked in. Like she was like up in the corner, like get out of here, like, you know, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At any time when you were shaking her, did her head bang the wall?
Put yourself
Just
in
say
George's
no.
position and imagine Yeardley had in fact self-inflicted her injuries. You would perhaps say something along the lines of, absolutely not.
I wasn't hitting her against the wall, but like when she's like sitting there in the corner of like, if it were like this, and I'm like already like, you know, and I was like what the fuck was that about? Like that's such bullshit that you like do that. Like it's such a like bullshit move. Like would like, you know, like ever like hitting her, like, what are you like doing like that? Like
Okay. She has a pretty good knot on her head. That's why I'm asking how you can explain how that would have happened.
I mean, I don't even know when a knot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Like on the side of her head, she's been hit pretty good right there. So I'm just trying to figure out, did you hit her with something?
no.
Was that
no,
her head into the wall?
never touched her or struck her or anything.
Well, you touched her. You had your hands on her.
You know, I said never struck her.
Okay. So you
I mean,
I'm gonna go through this one more time, make sure.
I mean, the
we're on same
person,
page.
she's
So you're-
saying that, like, he did it. He got brought down there for information. She's just saying you did this. He's saying, like, I didn't really do that. Like, this guy's just a fucking idiot.
You're pretty pissed at her from a week ago for sending you text messages. Do you have those text messages where she says she, as you put it, fucked somebody?
I actually might have those. Yeah.
All right, you got your phone with you?
Yeah.
And let's pull it out and scroll through it. Let's see if we can see those.
The next moment is fascinating because it symbolizes how drastically George's life is about to change. The interrogator will invade his personal space to make sure he's not deleting anything from his phone. Soon after that, she will take the phone out of his hand and place it on the table. Actions that would be completely unacceptable in almost any other circumstance.
Alright, why would she text
You
him
didn't say
saying she
They
fucked
were-
some
they
other
were,
guy?
Like, I guess what you call like an ongoing conversation, an ongoing like instant message, and it's gone.
Okay. I'll use that one. Then we'll leave that right in front of her. All right. Let's talk about how you
Entered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because to put your
See, like, the whole thing that doesn't make sense with all of this is, like, if he didn't kill her, then somebody else had to. So you gotta make up some, like, timeline where somebody else would have come in and just killed her, right? It just doesn't make sense. Like, he's saying, like, he did some bad things, and then she just fucking died. You gotta make it, like, you gotta make there, like, be some point where, like, yeah, like, we talked, you know, we had a conversation. You don't say you punched the fucking door, you don't say you punched the fucking hole through her door to have the conversation. You just said, I went to her house, you know, her front door was open, so I walked in, and then, you know, I was like, Yeardley, yo, what's up? And then she opened the door and we talked. You know, she seemed like she was on some fucking drugs. I just kept saying, like, yo, can we talk? Can we talk? Can we talk? And she was sitting, like, on her bed, freaking out. She was kind of, like, you know, wiggling. She was just kind of, like, she just seemed kind of off, and she didn't want to speak. So I just fucking left. I took her laptop because maybe she would come over to my place to get her laptop back, and then we could talk about what happened. Oh, yes, there's badges. I didn't even know these happened. Was this part of the changelog? Because I don't think... Like, look, I don't see any fucking badges. Oh, shit. Oh, I didn't know that. I missed one. Oh. Oh, okay. I looked at this today, so I must have just skipped this. Well, yeah, I'll give you a badge, whatever. I guess. I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is just like, he's just throwing it out there that he kind of killed her. You know, like, I did some shit. You know, it was some bad shit. You know, I was in her house even though she wanted me to not be there. I fucking punched a hole through her door. You know, I fucking shook her. We fucking were on the ground wrestling. It's like, why do you just not say this shit? There's no witnesses. Nobody's there. Just don't say anything. This is like, I'm telling you, JCS stuff, normally, like, they're all fucking denying, right? Like, I think I've seen all of them. I don't know if I've seen this one. Maybe I could watch this one. I think I saw that one. I don't know. But, like some of these ones are fucking great.
put your fist through the door.
No,
She
it's
had
actually
to
my
been
leg, I'm pretty
Your
sure.
leg?
Because
Now it's
that's
his
why
leg?
my leg's
What do you mean? Would you kick a hole?
Yeah, you're right. That was your leg.
He says, I'm
Yeah.
pretty
How'd you
sure it
know
was
the
my
bruising on
leg.
your hand then?
How do you
This is
not
all from the
know?
cross. This is all.
How do you not know how you break someone's door down? Like, I don't know about you, but I've never broken a door down in my life. I would remember that. I think earlier he says he punched a hole. I think. Maybe he didn't say how he did it, but maybe he just said he put a hole. But, like, you would know how you fucking kicked a door down or something.
It's pretty fresh right there. Looks.
Yeah, like,
all from my
I'll watch
cross
this
being
one,
on
because maybe I haven't
Saturday.
seen it.
On
I mean, I wear my
Saturday.
arm. You can see where my
Maybe
arm
not.
pads are.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, and my gloves right here, and that's
Even right there, I thought you wore those padded gloves.
This is
Lacrosse.
all. This is all the difference. This is all from lacrosse.
Okay.
And that's, I got whacked here. I remember 100% got whacked during the game when I was trying to kill the clock.
What the fuck you got?
When you had her in your
What's the difference
picture,
between an
she scratched you
OG
anyway?
and a VIP?
No,
No.
no.
She's a little girl. She's tiny.
Yeah, she did not. No, she didn't.
I mean, I guess
Sure.
they're different, sure,
Get
but,
you
like, why do they
anything like
both
that.
exist?
No.
Okay. So you kick in the door.
Yeah,
Go in.
that's how I got. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I stuck my hand through and unlocked it, and went in there, and
Okay.
Everything else I told you.
The detectives leave the room for
Yeah, but it's
roughly
weird that
3
they
minutes.
both exist.
When they return, it
I mean, like, what I was supposed to give everybody right now an OG flyer? Like, I don't want to piss people off. Like, the site's not even out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's too early for there to be OG badges. Like, for example, I gave one to Ape, but he's kind of gone now. So it's like, I don't know. It seems too early.
appears Ed is given the chance
I
to
know
lead
you really
with a
want
few
it,
of
so
his
I'll
own
give it to you.
questions.
I know we touched
'Cause I don't
on
wanna give people
what
mine.
happened last night, but set it up for me, lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up exactly?
Because she's a slut.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
And
Let's see, can you get all the badges?
Or she wants me to New York, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet.
Okay,
but I'd
type
like to
something.
move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
Oh, fuck, I missed this. I gotta rewatch this.
And
Okay. Fuck. Okay, I don't know how to do it, Doug. Okay, it's on a different panel. I just want to see, can you get, like, everything? I think you can. Let's see. Okay, type something. Well, there you go. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
everything else I told you.
The detectives leave the room for roughly 3 minutes. When they return, it appears Ed is given the chance to lead with a few of his own questions.
I know we touched about what happened last night, but set it up for me, lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up?
JCS
exactly?
inspired. What the fuck?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
And
Oh, this one was
I'm
good.
This
one was
wants me to
great.
New York.
The ex-military guy?
I'm not exactly sure
That one was
what
good.
I'm doing yet, but I'd like to move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's maybe because there's evidence on the computer, emails that you sent.
No, there's no. I mean, you can read all the emails and everything back and forth.
Detective Ed now asks George if he held Yeardley down on the bed. He's trying to subtly set the grounds for an argument of smothering, which isn't a terrible idea, but would be disproven by the autopsy regardless.
No.
Did you fall down on top of her? Rest on
We
the
were
ground?
wrestling on the ground for like a little
Did
bit.
y'all wrestle on the bed at all?
No, I never never like. Yeah.
So, like, we're just gonna agree this guy's retarded,
Just kind
right?
of hold her down until she calmed down on the bed.
No, if anything, that.
Like, imagine being this bad, like, a
they were
defense.
like on the floor. When we were on the floor, when her nose started bleeding, we were like wrestling around, and that's when her nose started bleeding.
Was it pretty noisy when y'all were wrestling around?
No, I mean.
Was she screaming? Yelling at
No, she was not screaming, actually.
I mean, if I'm
Which
cracking my head in the
Right.
wall, I'm gonna be saying, "Ow!"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was not screaming.
Yeah.
She should have been, probably, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
She should have been, probably, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Why do you think she should
I
have?
don't know, I mean, well, she was screaming when I first, came into the room, she was like, no, I'm not talking to you, get the fuck out of here, all that. But,
Should I
At
even
any
watch the
point
rest of this, or is this
before
just,
you
like,
said you-
bad?
And this was your words, you said you tossed her on the bed, and then you left.
yeah,
All right, at any point before that, did she lose consciousness?
no.
Okay. What happened after you tossed her on the bed? Did she move? Talk about, say something?
I mean, I literally tossed her on the bed and turned around and.
Tossed her on the ground or tossed her
On the bed, and
Tossed her on the
walked
bed.
out the door.
Okay. So when you tossed her back on the bed, in your mind, she was bleeding? But you said she was bleeding out her nose, and you didn't feel like you needed to call rescue?
No,
After that, after banging her head and
no,
shaking her and blood coming out her nose on the floor?
No,
Well, people get bloody noses all the time.
there's nothing about
Have,
We saw the fucking Thought Patrol, whatever it's called. Bloody nose all the time. Nobody give a fuck.
you missed anything that no one asking right now?
there's nothing about going to get anything or going. I don't know why I took the computer.
George rambles about why there was no reason for taking the laptop for another 20 seconds, during which time Detective Reeves decides that enough information has been attained. Phase 2 is
She's
now
sitting
complete,
kinda weird
and
right
the fate
now.
of Yeardley is about to be revealed.
But wait. You know what's happening. Check this out. Suspect is here. Fucking discussion lady here, and the door is right here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows about the fucking door strat. The door is over here. They're blocking the exit.
These moments in
Just
interrogations are
fucking love
considered
that.
important for the purpose of gauging a suspect's response. It's believed that a sharp and sudden revelation can make it difficult to fabricate emotion. So in theory, this will cause a suspect to provide either a genuine response or a relatively obvious disingenuous response, which often comes in the pretense of shock or remorse.
I mean, I guess that's where my logic was at, but that was, which is...
Well, I have to tell you
I think I
something.
know why you took the computer.
In the midst of what would have been a flawlessly executed moment,
Yeah, I don't understand. This guy's gotta stop speaking. He's just fucking with her flow. Like, she's winning. You don't gotta be speaking, man. Come on.
Detective Ed jumps back into the laptop mystery. The suspect has essentially confessed to murder. This really wasn't the time for regurgitated conjecture over a petty theft misdemeanor, which
Exactly.
Ed was clearly being advised of once again through
Yeah, look at those
nonverbal
eyebrows.
communication.
Fucking ass. Yo, stop.
Why do you think?
You
Go ahead,
alright?
go
You
ahead.
know? She's dead.
I thought he already knew that.
You killed her.
She's dead?
I think you knew that already.
No, I did not.
I thought there was
In our
somewhere.
opinion, George is being truthful here, and we believe the interrogator feels this.
I thought, like, in the beginning of the whole thing, they say, I'm here because,
This
I
point,
never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something. Wanted to know if you
investigating
knew. Just told you we're investigating. I never said anything about this.
why did you guys say, why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something.
Wait, what is
Wanted
the
to know-
timeline on
Investigating,
this?
You make me
49.
conflict
Oh, this is
right there.
after. Well, you can't put it in the fucking the end of the show. Yo. Spoilers, man. Look, the time says an hour 8:54, but where we are all the way through the show, we haven't even made it to that.
Same way in this moment.
I thought everybody knew she was already dead or whatever.
She's dead? How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her, George.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her.
George appears to be going through a delayed response. It's so foreign a revelation that it's yet to sink in. Once the shock settles, he refuses to accept it, and this denial appears to be a momentary coping mechanism before the reality of the situation truly hits him, which will happen at this time in the footage.
Maybe I'm just like dumb. Okay, I get that I can be really dumb. And maybe he smashed her head into a wall. But I'm still pretty shocked that you can like hit somebody and they die. I don't really get it. And maybe it's just because I'm weak. And I mean, maybe this guy's really strong. I don't know. He seems more like thin and nimble than strong. But like, I don't know. If I were to hit someone or like someone were to hit me and they're not a fucking gigantic man, I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't really kill me. Now maybe if you like, maybe if he did put her head into the wall, then like, yeah, okay. But I still feel like maybe you get a concussion. Well, I guess maybe if you get a concussion, you don't treat it. Maybe you die. I don't know. It's weird. Like, no, he plays lacrosse. Lacrosse, you just gotta be able to. It's like, you know, soccer kind of style. So like lacrosse, so like I learned this actually last week. Apparently, men's lacrosse is contact and women's lacrosse isn't. I always thought women's lacrosse was contact. That's weird to me. I don't know, like, why would they do that? Because it's not like men versus women. It's women versus women. Why can't theirs be contact? Like, what's the difference? But yeah, like, I guess, I don't know. Like, I have a feeling that like he put her head into the wall, and that's why his story is that she hit her head on the wall. But I don't know if that's just because he like punched her and she fucking died, or what.
Oh my god. She's dead?
Yes.
She's dead.
Yes.
She's dead.
She's dead.
How? How?
I already told you how. You already told us how as well.
How is she dead?
Just
Well, yeah, like obviously this dude killed her some way.
Oh my god.
You went in there to talk with her, but it got out of control, right, George?
The detectives will now
Dude,
add
fuck
further
this
pressure
guy.
to keep him talking.
He's gotta
Suspects will
stop.
often divulge information in these moments.
I
in
get
a
that, like,
panicked
she's the
attempt
good
to
guy and
save
he's the bad
themselves,
guy,
and in doing
but
so
I don't
can
think
shut
he's
down a more
doing
credible
anything.
storyline they haven't thought up yet.
The alcohol got a hold of you. You kicked in her door. She started to fight with you. You punched her in the head, or you cracked.
She's not dead.
You cracked
She's
her
not
head.
dead.
You
She's
cracked her
not
head in the
dead.
window or in the
She's
wall.
not dead.
She is.
She's not dead.
I ain't BSing you right now. It's serious.
I want to see her. She's
George,
not
look at
dead.
me.
George.
She is dead.
You were not here to dance with us. You're here because she's dead. The alcohol.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
It's
it.
true.
Dude, I didn't. I don't believe that she's dead.
How did you?
I don't believe
Yo,
that
man.
she's dead.
How
I
was-
don't believe that she's
Did
dead.
you punch her? Did you hit her?
How?
with-
There's
head in the wall?
no way she's dead. She's not dead. I didn't. I
Listen,
never
listen.
did anything. I did not.
All right, let's calm down.
I did not like hurt her. Like she's not dead.
Then calm down.
Just out of protocol, what we gotta do is stand up for me, George. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back for me. Turn around.
Relax. It's all right.
Relax, you'll be alright.
Tell me she's not dead. Tell me she's not dead though, please. Will you tell me she's not dead?
Relax.
Please, will you tell me
You
she's
know what?
not
I wish
dead?
I could tell you that, George. 22-year-old. 22. And her life is done.
She's not.
I thought they were in high school.
Not do anything like that.
Maybe they're not. I thought it was high school.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. There's no way. There's no way she could be dead.
Who's he talking to?
Either the head trauma
Okay,
or
he's there.
asphyxiation.
There was no asphyxiation.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was she
I'm
doing?
not-
What was she doing the last time you saw her?
She was like standing up with me. She was standing up with me. She was standing up with me, looking at me.
Was she standing or you were
She
holding
was
her?
standing up, looking at me.
Okay.
She's not dead. I know she's not dead. I know 100 million % she's not dead. I did. She cannot be dead.
I know it got out of hand, George.
No, it didn't.
Okay, I totally get it. Okay, I understand why I was wrong before. I keep saying, why doesn't he make up a fake story? I get it. Because he actually doesn't think she's dead, and they would have corroborating stories. That's why. Now it's clicking. So the whole time, like, why are you just, like, saying shit? He doesn't actually think she died. I see. So you want to just make your side of the story seem as light as possible. And she'll say that he was really rough with her, and he'll say he barely did anything. And it's all he said, she said. So then he doesn't go to jail or whatever for assault, which we saw apparently at the very beginning of the video. I get it. That's why he can't say, I went in and I fucking left. I get it.
It did not. It didn't. And she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave. You have to leave. I was like a little bit persistent. I
Was she
mean,
screaming?
she should have been. I didn't kill her and leave. I didn't just. Oh my god. I didn't kill her. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. No way. Oh. I want a lawyer. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. What? No, there's no way. There's no way. There's
So we got
no
10 minutes to go
fucking
until
way.
I forget what happens, but something happens.
So should I talk to someone?
Who do you want to talk to?
Anyone. A lawyer.
When will get appointed to you?
Okay, what do I do now? Go to jail?
Yeah.
All right, George, right now, I know you no longer want to talk to us, that's fine, just let you know something. We're working on a search warrant right now, and what it is we're gonna have to collect some stuff from you, like what's called a buccal swab, okay?
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything, just told you we're investigating something, wanted to know.
I'm investigating, so.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
At the start of this video, you were asked to think of what you would do in this situation. Really try and imagine what would be going through your mind in this moment, as you might just gain a restorative outlook from both knowing the answer while not having to answer this particular question. But there is of course no possible way you will gain anything close to the newfound perspective George has acquired in this moment, which unfortunately for him is no longer of use.
Want me to call your dad?
We call it Mom.
Your mom? Is that who you'd like me to call?
Can I talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to her?
I don't know about that. What's your mom's name? What's her number?
301-96.
Okay.
How?
Did you want me to call your dad? Or just her?
She'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell her everything.
Okay.
How?
Got 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I guess he just says he did it. I don't remember.
I don't believe it. There's no way she's gonna be dead. There's no way.
Calm down.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no.
George, go ahead, put your foot down.
Oh my God.
Yep.
These next few moments are a turning point. The leg irons seem to initiate a shift in his constitution, and his denial will completely cease from this point forward. He will continue to ask why and how, but he will no longer reject the severity of what is happening.
Well, I don't understand. Is this normal? Do they always get foot shackled? Do they? I thought you just get the 2 cuffs and like people are pretty chill. Maybe they think he's like gonna go crazy or something, but is that normal?
Oh my God. Huh.
Heck of a day, bud.
I ain't here the rest of my life.
I'm sorry?
So I ain't here the rest of my life.
No,
In
it's
this
for
room?
like a couple of
No,
years, a
jail.
few years or whatever.
Oh, man.
You don't go to jail just for killing somebody.
Oh,
Like
bad
forever.
guy, man.
Never said you were, bud.
Aren't there some people that like kill people and all they get is like house arrest or
Hold on.
something?
I'm sorry?
You call my mom.
Not right now. Yeah, you do want to talk to her. Now's when you need your family the most, bud. You know?
Dude. Didn't even.
He's not wearing shoes.
George was taken to the regional jail soon after this moment. He would go on to plead not guilty to murder and was held without bond for almost 2 years awaiting trial. It began on February 6, 2012.
Well, testimony is now underway
takes
in the
2
murder
years?
trial of the former UVA lacrosse player accused of killing his ex-girlfriend.
For the first time, we have video of Yeardley as he was led into the courtroom.
Contrary to his appearance in the days that followed his arrest for the murder of 22-year-old Yeardley Love, He appeared pale, frail, and gaunt.
The prosecution presented a case that Yeardley went to Love's apartment that night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma, which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described as playful text messages with 3 other women. Those messages continued late into the night and even after the alleged attack.
Throughout this trial, Yeardley has sat expressionless, almost stoic at the defense table. All of that changed today. As this police interview was airing, Yeardley began crying, was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Yeardley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse player Michael Burns, who testified that one time while visiting UVA, he heard some yelling for help from Yeardley's apartment. When he opened the door, he said he found Yeardley with his arm wrapped around Love's neck, choking her. Yeardley then let her go, and she ran out of the room crying.
A variety of medical experts took the stand this Wednesday, and they all seemed to agree that Love's death was the result of blunt force trauma to the head. This was followed by highly distressing witness testimony from Yeardley's neighbors.
The noise was so loud, this was such a violent death that they heard it downstairs, 2 separate witnesses, and it sounded like a stereo crashing to the ground.
And it certainly didn't help that the jury knew that she was alive for 2 hours before she died, indicating that if George Yeardley had come to his senses, he could have gone back there, called 911, and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George Yeardley never intended to kill. They say this was all a tragic accident, that he does not deserve a life sentence, but instead a lesser charge and a second chance.
Guilty of second-degree murder, and you will hear the sentence momentarily.
A 26-year prison term came down.
George Yeardley was brought to court to hear his lawyers plead for the judge to cut in half the 26-year sentence recommended by the jury. Judge Edward Hogshire did trim it back, but by just 3 years.
The jury in this case recommended 26 years. The judge changed it to 23, probably a small difference, but...
Wait, why is the jury recommending a number? I don't understand that. I thought the jury just says, like, guilty or not guilty or innocent. Why is the jury giving a number? It's like, they're uneducated fucks. Like me, I can't tell someone how long they go to jail for. What? The jury just says, on these counts, these counts, these counts, these counts. What? Maybe he's like misspeaking, I don't know, but that just doesn't seem right.
Why would he do that?
It's surprising, isn't it, considering this is a woman who was beaten to death in her own bed.
We think that George was convicted of a crime inconsistent with the facts, and he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Yeardley has already served in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
As for George, he was incarcerated at the maximum security Augusta Correctional Center for 10 years, and has since been transferred to a prison work camp in Richmond, where he's expected to serve out the rest of his sentence. The present consensus in the media is that George had no intention of killing Yeardley, but that his 23-year sentence is still appropriate, if not lenient, and that him being drunk to any degree at the time of the murder is not an excuse, nor does it lessen the culpability of his actions to any extent. He'll be released at the age of 45, meaning he will have the second chance at life Yeardley was never afforded. You can decide for yourself whether he deserves it or not.
A comforting prospect to this tragedy is the nonprofit organization that arose from it. The One Love Foundation carries extremely important messages, both on social psychology and preventative education. Their website will be linked in the description of this video.